sometimes your mind keeps thinking whenever we get any idle time. You look calm on the outside, but inside, there's a quieter world of thoughts that is running vividly. This is a quiet video for people who live a lot in their heads, who replay small moments, notice tiny details, and sometimes keep thinking about things like, did I say that the right way? Or did they sound a little different today? Nothing here is about changing you. We're just going to sit with that experience together, slowly, gently, so you feel a little more understood while you listen. It's late. The room is quiet, and your mind is still awake. Not loud, not dramatic, just there. Turning things over, running small circles, replaying little moments nobody else even noticed. It's that familiar feeling, being present, but not fully here. Sitting in a room, nodding, listening, saying the right words when needed, while somewhere else inside, another part of you is drifting through thoughts, checking them, rechecking them, putting them back where they were, and then taking them out again. Sometimes it begins with something small, a look, a sentence, a message that felt slightly different. It hooks onto something inside you, and your mind begins working. Not because you want it to, just because that's what it knows how to do. Maybe you wonder what someone meant, what they felt, what they didn't say, what you could have said. What happens next? And somehow, the moment grows larger on the inside than it ever was on the outside. You seem calm. You usually do. But quietly, there's another layer. A soft commentary running in the background. A second world where the past and future sit beside you like quiet companions. It isn't always worry. Sometimes it's drifting, imagining, planning, having silent conversations in your head. You rehearse things you may never say. You remember small moments nobody else remembers anymore. You step back into old scenes like rooms you can still enter. And in a way, that inner world feels comforting, familiar, predictable, safe. You can slow things down there, hold them still, try to make sense of them, even if the answer doesn't really arrive. But sometimes it feels heavy too, like you're watching your own life from a slight distance. You're there, but also not quite there. And you only notice afterwards, when the day is over, or when you're lying in the dark, realizing the outer world blurred while the inner world stayed sharp. There's usually a tenderness behind it. You think a lot because things matter to you. Words matter. People matter. Tiny changes in tone. Little pauses. They stay with you longer than most people realize. You don't really choose that. It just happens. Some people brush things off like dust. Your mind holds them gently, turns them over, and looks for meaning, as if there might be a final answer somewhere. Something that makes everything clear. But that answer rarely comes. So the thoughts remain, not stubbornly, just unfinished. Sometimes living in your head is like wandering through a house with many rooms, one for memories, one for plans, one for quiet worries you don't talk about, one for conversations that never really happened, but almost did. You move between them softly, opening doors, closing them again, sitting with one memory for a while, then drifting on. From the outside, none of this is visible. To others, you're simply quiet, maybe a little distant, but inside there's a whole world. Busy, alive, tender. There are evenings when you feel slightly split in two. The you who lives the moment, and the you who watches it happen. Watching how you sounded, wondering if it was too much or not quite enough. You become your own audience, your own narrator. And it can be tiring, not dramatically so, just a soft, steady ache somewhere behind the eyes. Sometimes you wish there was a switch, just to be here, simple, uncomplicated, but the mind goes where it goes, like water following an old path. There's often a softness in people who live this way, a sensitivity. You notice moods, silences, unspoken feelings. You sense when something is slightly off, even when no one else does. And the world can feel louder because of it, more layered, more complicated. You might replay a single sentence all day, not because you want to, just because your mind keeps returning to it, like a page you forgot to finish. What did they mean? Was it fine? It was probably fine. And still, the thought returns, round and round, gently, quietly. Sometimes there's a quiet longing underneath, a wish to be known with the same depth you feel inside. Not perfectly, not polished, just honestly. But it isn't always easy to explain what it's like to carry this much thinking, to hold tiny details, to keep whole conversations inside your chest. So most of it stays there, safe, unshared. And your inner world deepens, while the outer world grows softer at the edges. Time behaves differently like this, Hours pass and you barely notice. You were elsewhere, sorting thoughts, unpacking moments, trying to gently fill spaces that may never fully close. At night, it becomes clearer. The world quiets, and there is more room to wander. You lie in the dark, still, while inside, stories wake again. There's a small loneliness in that sometimes. Not sharp, just a gentle sense of being slightly apart. Half a step to the side. You care deeply. You feel deeply. And not all of it shows on the surface. So much remains unspoken. But there is beauty here too. Depth, imagination, a tender awareness of how delicate things can feel. People like you notice patterns, connections, emotional details. You understand more than you say. And even when it feels heavy, there is something gentle about it, something human. Because thinking, in its own quiet way, is a form of caring. Sometimes you wish you could step out of your head. Just breathe. Just be. But your inner world is also where your memories live. Your meanings. Your softer parts. Your hopes. Your loves. The parts of you that feel safest unseen. Yes, sometimes it becomes too much, too busy, too full. But sometimes it's also where you rest. Maybe you've always been this way. The thoughtful one, the quiet one, the one who notices. Not good, not bad, just you. And there's a softness to moments like this, late, calm, unrushed, where nothing needs to be solved, where thoughts can simply wander. You can just be a person with a busy inner world, lying in a dark room, breathing. Even if no one else fully sees it, you do. You live alongside it every day. Sometimes it feels like a weight. Sometimes like a companion. Your mind sitting beside you, still wondering, still trying to understand life as gently as it can. And maybe the quiet truth is this: there is nothing wrong with that. With depth, with reflection, with feeling more than you say. It simply means you are here in a soft, honest way. And tonight, as your thoughts move slowly on, nothing needs to change. Nothing needs to be fixed. You can rest inside that inner world for a while. Let the edges blur. Let everything soften. And allow yourself to feel, just for a moment, that you are understood exactly as you are.